Hey everybody, welcome to Movies Worth Talking About. I am John Carlos, joined as usual by
Eddie.
Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and I just want to hang out with my friend and shoot the shit about Thanksgiving movies and specials. Because unlike we did like our list of, well, not lists, but our discussion of Halloween movies. Mm-hmm. And Lord knows there's like a butt ton of Christmas movies and quote unquote Christmas movies, and then the debatable Christmas movies and all that. But Thanksgiving has like such a small amount, but I think it's worth talking about the fact that there is Thanksgiving media out there.
Yes, there is.
And I have a few standards that I like to visit in November.
Me too.
Yeah, and I just want to get into it, man. I'll get to what it's just a conversation. I don't give a shit, but I have like my solid 5 that I'll get to. Before that, I just have a series of honorable mentions, and I think you just have a grouping of things.
8 titles in no order in particular. I might even just tap my pen down onto my pad just to select which one comes up first. Or if you bring up one that is on my list, I'll chime in and go, hey, me too.
Let's do that. In fact, I'll say just fire off one. By the way, we're doing movies and TV shows and TV specials. All Thanksgiving media. It's called Movies We're Talking About, but this is going to be media we're talking about.
Yeah, try talking about only Thanksgiving movies that you absolutely adore, and it's a real short conversation. Okay.
It's very short.
My first one, my first one is neither a movie nor a television special. It is actually online media. It is from but it still has a season. It is from season 1 of a little series called that's hosted by It is not pornography. It is not on Pornhub. It is not or on X Hamster or any of those things.
Did I get this right? The show is called
Yes, it is spelled capital U, capital N, capital H, little h, little h, little h.
Okay.
And it's hosted by 2 drag queens I love, Katya and Trixie Mattel. And in season 1, they did a Thanksgiving episode that I have already watched probably 8 times this fall. I watched it once today just because I was like, I forgot about that one. And how? Because I watch it so often. But it's wonderful because they just basically kind of like do what we do, just sit around and be silly and shoot the shit. And they talked about the meaning of Thanksgiving. Katya says, Thanksgiving is every day. And then they start discussing like ways you can surprise your family by dressing up as the turkey and getting, so when they're basting the turkey, but then they find out it's you, just like wearing little socks like a turkey going, hey. And at the very end of the episode, there is a pageant that they do where Trixie dresses up as a turkey and Katya is the angry farmer. And yeah, it's just a million laughs. It's a hoot and a half. It's been in my life for a while, and I'm really, really grateful for it. It makes me feel the Thanksgiving spirit.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check that out.
I'll send you the link.
I will legitimately watch that. Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, just diving into some of my my honorable mentions. First up, I got to say Community in season 4, the dreaded gas leak season, which I, for the longest time, to me, it's Community seasons 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I don't know what season 4 is. But recently, in the last few months, I've been kind of just going back and checking an episode here or two there. And you know what? It may not be Dan Harmon, but like the cast is still showing up.
That's true.
And that Thanksgiving episode is it's not the same kind of funny, but I hate to admit that season's grown on me again a little bit. Anyway, it's a very lovely episode. You've watched Community, but
yes, I have.
But because there's a lot of shows that I watch where it may not be a special. It might just be an episode of a show, and it's not always easy to recommend certain ones because they build too much off of what's already happened. Versus sometimes you can just watch this one Thanksgiving episode and
yeah.
You don't have to have seen the show because they pretty much lay out like Jeff Winger is going to meet his dad for the first time, and the gang's going to Shirley's, and we've all been to a party where like it sucks and you're trying to hide out, and they're hiding out, and they make it into a whole Shawshank Redemption metaphor, and it's great. Yeah. It's sweet and it's funny, and I recommend the Thanksgiving episode of Community.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's nice.
Shirley's got the little apron with like the bread roll, and the bread roll make a cross that says "He is risen."
I had forgotten about that. Oh my god, I do have to revisit. I did revisit the Halloween episode from season 4 in anticipation of Halloween this year.
Also good.
Yeah, it's
not as good as the others.
Yeah, not my favorite, but I led with that. I'll know for the future if I'm ever going to like watch any of the holiday seasonal episodes of Community to lead with season 4, then go 5, 6, then go 1, 2, 3, because 1, 2, 3 is every season of the first 3 seasons. I was just like, my God, it's just getting better and better, and it still holds up. So, shall I name another?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, this one might be the only one that I think you might take issue with, because technically it's not a Thanksgiving movie. Like, it's not about Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving is so heavily, no, not heavily, prominently featured in it. I think about it every year when I think about Thanksgiving. It's inescapable, and it's Addams Family Values.
There it fucking is.
There it is.
God damn it. Every year, people fucking have to share that clip, the Eat Me play.
Of course they do.
I get it.
And
except
when
for
Addams
the fact that it's summer camp.
But it's summer camp. But the fact that like it's not even just like about, you know, the acquisition of the indigenous people's land and everything like that. It is specifically Thanksgiving oriented, and because it is named Addams Family Values, one of the most appropriately named titles to suit a franchise, because that's the thing that I cling to with that family in any iteration. I love their values. I love the way they bond together, and that's largely a Thanksgiving, ideally a Thanksgiving theme for me too, in addition to like all the reverse massacring that gets to happen in this, you know, like fantasy derailed drama that
summer bullshit aside, it becomes this brilliant piece of Thanksgiving media.
Yeah.
And I would never begrudge anyone to find a reason to watch Addams Family Values any time of year. It's a
absolutely
magnificent sequel, and it's great.
But I can't not laugh whenever Pugsley just raises his wings and goes, "Eat me!"
It's great.
Oh, there you go. So there you go. How about you?
It's a movie that it's a Thanksgiving movie, I think, for film lovers, not for the family to gather and enjoy. But The Ice Storm by Ang Lee. Takes place over a Thanksgiving break. It also has a banger of a Thanksgiving moment with Christina Ricci.
Yes.
When she does the fucking blessing.
Yes. I love that.
And Kevin Kline's like, okay, all right, enough.
Yeah, right. You know. And I'm like, oh my God. I have sat at that table.
Yes. But if you're not aware, anyone out there, it is definitely a drama. It's definitely an Ang Lee drama. It's brilliant. But it's you're not going to feel good about yourself for Thanksgiving. It's
I mean, I don't know what everybody's situation is at home, but it might make you really, really grateful for what you got waiting for you at home, you know.
but as you know, just as a fan of cinema, like that is a good thing that I would pull off and watch in November as an excuse to watch it, you know, because it is a film lover's Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah, my sister always said it's her favorite Fantastic Four movie. Yeah,
it's a grim Fantastic Four movie.
But she said she will. I think she would argue to this day it's still better than any of the other Fantastic Four movies that have been released in theaters. So,
well, I mean, my favorite Fantastic Four movie is The Incredibles. So
yeah, well, there you go. There you go. But yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'd have to ask her now. Anyway, but favorite Thanksgiving oriented Fantastic Four movie, Ice Storm by far.
Oh, by far. Yeah, by far.
Okay. Here, let me. Oh, okay. I'm really happy I get to talk about this one because not a lot of people remember this show, but it was a real big hit in the 90s called Northern Exposure, all about like this Jewish doctor from New York who has to pay back all of his student loans. His entire education through medical school was paid for by basically the state of Alaska, and he has to go back there to this fictional city, town really, called Sicily, and he has to basically like work off a few years, you know, just like being their doctor before he can like go back to New York and have his life back. And he hates it. And it's the show is all about like him being challenged by the people who live there, both indigenous and like the white people who travel up there and the Canadians who travel over there. And it's just this like incredible mix of people. Anyway, in season 4, there is an episode that is just called Thanksgiving. And it has one of my favorite things in it because there are indigenous people who live all over this town. And they have a tradition every year in this fictional little town where all of the Native American people get to take tomatoes and just chuck them at white people who live in the town. And Joel, the doctor, played by Rob Morrow, is just walking down the street one day and somebody chucks a tomato at him and it stains his shirt. He's like, "Whoa!" And all he did was "Good morning." They're like, "How you doing, Dr. Joel?" And then they just keep walking. And as the episode progresses, you just keep seeing white people getting pelted with tomatoes. And then finally, Joel gets this great moment with his secretary, Marilyn Whirlwind, who is an indigenous woman. And she gets to tell him about just, they still called themselves Indians when this was shot. And she says like, but she's basically says, we have a lot of anger. And we need to, you know, and Thanksgiving isn't like a wonderful kind of like memorable time for us. So we need to, you know, kind of get our anger out. It has to manifest in some kind of way. And he's like, but does it have to be so violent? She's like, tomatoes don't hurt you. Yeah, no, she's like, tomatoes don't hurt you, you know, compared to like what, you know, what we went through. Think about what, you know, we actually had coming at our way, coming toward us. And so, and it's just, oh, it's so good. There's also a guy who is like kind of poisoned by the environment. So he lives in a bubble. Everybody calls him the Bubble Man. It's played by Anthony Edwards. Pre-ER, yeah. And he's so sweet because he wants to go out and have Thanksgiving dinner, but he's too scared to because he's afraid he might get poisoned by stuff. And there's an astronaut who lives there in the town, so he gives him his spacesuit. So he gets to go out in town at the end of the episode. Spoilers, folks, I'm sorry, but it's still delightful. Watch it. So he gets to go out in a spacesuit and be safe, like in his own little kind of climate, and wave at people and take pictures with kids and stuff like that. And it is just one of the most magical shows I've ever seen in my life. I'm still to this day, I'm sad that it's not streaming on any kind of platforms. And the only way it's available, it's not on Blu-ray. You can only get it on DVD. But I have the entire series on DVD and I watch it regularly. Feed your soul. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Eddie, I'm glad you mentioned that one because I'm 41 years old and I was today years old when I found out what Northern Exposure was about.
Oh, okay.
All I remember about it was opening credits of like a moose walking through a town.
Yeah, walking through the streets of Sicily. Yeah,
that's all I knew about it.
It's a pretty stellar show. Like it, and certain things about it don't hold up because you know it was made in the 90s. But I don't think I've come across an absolute deal breaker yet. So we'll see. But that's just one man's opinion. So, but it lives rent-free in my circulatory system. So there you go.
Pardon me. I'll tell you something that lives rent-free in mine, and it's a little more specific. Some, like I was just saying, some episodes. Okay, I'll just say it. So like Sports Night has an episode.
Yeah.
That if you don't watch Sports Night, you're not going to get anything out of it beforehand. You're just going to be like, who are these characters? I don't understand what's going on.
Right.
But if you are a Sports Night fan, then it is nice to revisit this episode at Thanksgiving. That sort of thing. But they did so like, like kind of like Northern Exposure, like apparently there's a Thanksgiving episode and you like to go back and see it.
Yeah.
it's Aaron Sorkin. I don't need to sit here and explain. You know what? You explain Northern Exposure to me.
Yeah,
Sports Night is a show that takes place in a fictional, it's behind ESPN and Fox Sports News. Mm-hmm. There is, I think it was CSN, I think, but it's the crew and the two on-camera anchors and the producer and the people who make this show happen. Mm-hmm. One of the like the A story and the B story, even though they're all kind of equal, but the two anchors have been friends for a long time, and they have like a whole A story about how there's an anniversary that the other one doesn't remember, and he's upset that he doesn't remember why today's special, and that has a whole thing that blossoms. But one of the stories is that producer is Felicity Huffman is very nervous about cooking the turkey for like Thanksgiving dinner, and her whole thing is like, and she's thawing the turkey on one of the lights. And don't anyone worry about why there's a turkey on one of the lights. And then and like the C story is that some things are going wrong, because technically today isn't just Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Jeremy, the local nerd, explains how like today's the anniversary of some ancient Greek thing about Thespis, the first actor, the first person to walk on a stage, pretend to be something, and he's mischievous, and maybe the ghost of Thespis is haunting our theater, and then, or not our theater, but our soundstage or whatever. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, the turkey, like there's like drip, and the turkey falls live on TV, and shenanigans ensue. So there's a lot of there's like 3 different plates that are spinning.
Yeah.
But Felicity Huffman worrying about providing the right Thanksgiving dinner, and her learning that that doesn't matter. It's the effort, not the end result.
Yeah.
It has a very Thanksgiving, her story has a nice little resolution to it. And like a lot of TV shows, it's like, tight 22, 24 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it as a Sports Night fan, it's satisfying, but as a Sports Night fan watching Thanksgiving episode, it leaves me with the nice warm fuzzies. Aww. Some other warm fuzzy things happen in it. So like the whole episode ends very happy. And if you want to go down that memory lane as a Sports Night fan, it's a good 24 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you just made me remember one that I don't think I put on my list.
Well, now I've got 9.
Actually, I think I missed kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I only said 3, right? Yeah, I only said 3. Okay, I think I meant to put it and I didn't put it down. So I'll just say it now. So it is 8. It is 8, sorry. It's okay. Kind of a cop-out, because really I'll take any Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving episode I can get my mitts on.
And there's like a billion of them, right?
Yeah, like starting season 3. They didn't have them the first 2 seasons because it was like playing in the spring. But there is one that I absolutely fucking favor, and I don't remember the name of it because obviously I didn't look it up. But it's fans of Bob's Burgers will know what I'm talking about. It's the one where Bob has to go pick up Linda's sister Gail, and she's bringing a salad, but she has to bring her cat, Mr. Business. and Gail is voiced by Megan Mullally, so that's hilarious. Yeah, so you just got Megan Mullally and H. John Benjamin, just all this banter because she injured her knees or something, so he has to put her in a raft and drag her through the snow because he can't get to his car because it's buried in snow. It's just a whole thing, but you can just get to hear Megan Mullally the whole time going, Mr. Business! Because her cat gets away, he has to chase after it, and then he finds out that she wasn't really injured, and that she was lying to him just so she could have attention. And then they have a point where he gets hurt, and they're laying in the snow next to each other, just having this incredible heart-to-heart talk, and then she farts. And
you had me at farts.
There you go. Oh God, yeah, it's just pure gold. And the two of them. You can tell they're not in like separate booths recording this on separate days or something like that. You can tell like this banter that they're doing together is literally like happening on the spot and being improvised. And I'm sure, a lot of that is how it's recorded, but it's just so fucking funny. So that's my favorite. But I always look forward to in any Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving episode, just Bob is going to talk to the turkey. And that's probably my favorite thing that happens every single year. He's going to talk to the turkey, and then he's going to provide the voice for the turkey to answer him back. And it's become part of my my Thanksgiving tradition now.
That's a show I need to revisit because I only watched season 1. I thought it was
no, oh my god, it gets so much better.
That's what everyone says, and one day I'll get to it.
Because I was where you were. I was watching the first season going, they're really kind of mean to each other. Then they stopped being mean to each other. They started banding together, being a family, and everybody else was the problem. And I was like, yes, I can get on board with this. So
okay,
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's been on my list to get back to one day, but
go for it.
Here's a great one. I mean, when it comes to I mean, not like the list matters, but I like to have my 5. But really close, really close. South Park has done many Thanksgiving episodes. But the season 4 one, Helen Keller the musical, is. Have you not seen? Did you not see the? Have you seen this one?
No.
It's great. The boys have the school makes them put on like a Thanksgiving thing.
Oh.
And the kindergartners have like their own production. And Butters says, the kindergartners one's gonna be so good. I saw the rehearsal. It's amazing. So they're like, shit, we're stuck doing Helen Keller as a play. Why do we have to do Helen Keller as a play? And it's like kids produced. So they want to like ratchet up and make sure that their show's better than the kindergartner show. So how do we do that? Well, let's inject some Thanksgivingness into this, and we're gonna make it a musical. And the guy they bring in to like direct, they mentioned that he was in like Les Mis in the community theater production of this. So everything he says sounds like Javert. When he speaks, he sings like this. It's all just the way he sings and speaks his words. Like every time he tells him a thing. Anyway, like the whole thing is we want to get like a turkey in the show. The turkey's gonna jump through a ring of fire. It's gonna be cool.
Oh, wait, that sounds vaguely familiar. Maybe I did see it. Okay.
So they go to get a turkey. Like Timmy goes with them.
Yeah.
And there's all these normal turkeys, and then there's like a derp turkey who's like really thin, and his head hangs down low.
I do remember this. Okay.
Like it drags on the ground, and Timmy's like, and he names him Gobbles.
Yeah, Gobbles. I remember that. Oh my God, I haven't seen it in ages. Yes, okay.
Yes. And I never would have associated Helen Keller with Thanksgiving, but now I always do. And then she's pumping, it's like water. Like,
oh my God.
And the best part of the episode is when this other guy has like this brilliant turkey, and he wants to get rid of Gobbles so that his perfect turkey can be in the show. And Gobbles ends up with a bunch of turkeys that are going off to the slaughterhouse. But it's a humane slaughterhouse. And they herd all the turkeys into this nice room, and the lights go dim, and there's a nice screen that shows mountain vistas, and all the turkeys are looking at it.
No.
And then while they're looking at it, a buzzsaw just comes by. It lops off all their heads except for Gobbles because he's all derpy. No! And his head moves. It's so good.
Oh my God. Wow. I haven't seen that show in a long time.
And Gobbles jumps through the little ring of fire. It's lovely.
Is that your last honorable mention? Do you have any more?
I got more.
Oh, you got more?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll touch on one that didn't make my list, but I watch it, but it's not like, and it's also kind of basic, but it's also beyond basic. Like, it's just, I don't watch it every year. I think it's kind of funny. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. It's the Peanuts Thanksgiving special.
Eddie, that's in my top 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, but you know what? No, here's the thing.
Yeah.
My top 5 has 2 really basic ones in it.
Okay, cool.
But here's the thing. I have to fucking watch it every year. It's in my top 5 because it's that goddamn good.
Okay. Among the Peanuts like specials, there are some that I favor a little bit more than this one, but I do have to say my favorite feature, just so this doesn't sound like, because it's not a thumbs down review, but I don't watch it every year. But because I've seen it so much like from my childhood, like it is ingrained in my head. But I really just appreciate the fact that Snoopy is the one who has to make the impromptu Thanksgiving dinner for Peppermint Patty and Marcy and Franklin, basically. And that he comes up with popcorn, pretzel sticks, jelly beans, toast, And fucking doesn't he have like hot fudge sundaes or milkshakes or something? Like there's some little like mugs, like a little wine glasses that have like frosting or whipped cream on the top and like cherries, and you don't get to see him make them.
Popcorn, pretzel sticks.
Yeah.
Toast.
Yes.
Yeah. I've still never done it. I think it'd be fun to host a Thanksgiving dinner and have that be part of the dinner. But I think it'd be hilarious if that was just your dinner.
That's some hardcore Peanuts fandom.
It is.
And I don't think I'd ever be willing to go that far. I'm all for like non-traditional dishes, and like even like I've got a different spin that I and my particular party are doing this year, where we're going to do kind of like a brunchy spin on things. It's not going to be Thanksgiving dinner, it's going to be Thanksgiving brunch, so that'll be fun.
Okay. I just think it's sweet and charming that's like what their Thanksgiving dinner is. It just makes you go like, oh, you and your little popcorn.
Snoopy is always kind of like the one that I can lean on in any of these in any of the specials. Like whenever Snoopy's on screen, I'm just but I think the reason it doesn't make my list though, and you can rebut this, you know, when you talk about it, the reason it doesn't make my list is because anything that has Peppermint Patty throwing her weight around and being rude and insisting that she is invited to a Thanksgiving dinner that was never going to happen until she like made it materialize.
She makes it happen though.
Imaginary world, and then she pitches a fit when she doesn't get the traditional turkey dinner that she was expecting. I have a little bit of a hard time enjoying all that because I don't believe that at the end of that episode that she has learned her lesson.
Okay. So here's the thing is I find it funny what an asshole she is in it.
Okay.
What a demanding asshole she is. That makes it funny for me. And I'm not going to wait till later to talk about it. It'll just be in there, but I'll just talk about it now. No, that to me is funny. And unlike, I love like Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Mm-hmm. But the gang is split up. Charlie's got his story and Linus is over here. I like the idea of like, again, so much of the show is the kids without any adults around, but that they create their own little Thanksgiving dinner. Like it's sweet that like it's so much of it's people coming together. I don't know. It just makes me feel good. Fuck you. I wasn't even going to include it. Like,
because I don't glean the same joy from it that you do.
Yes. I think it's because
it's not your experience.
I am a bigger asshole than you. So like I can also get more out of Peppermint Patty.
I wouldn't put it that way. I would never equate you. You are not on equal footing with Peppermint Patty. I enjoy your company. I don't think you've ever infringed anything upon me in my life. So,
oh yeah, thank goodness. I've come close, but
you've come close.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think one of the things I'll point out. There's a bunch of them actually, but New Girl.
Oh, okay.
Zoe Deschanel's New Girl has, I think, 5, maybe 6 Thanksgiving episodes. Okay. It was like a while. They were doing like one every year on Thanksgiving. I highly recommend the first one, and it truly is the kind of show where you could just dive in and watch that Thanksgiving episode. It very clearly, like, I think they even spell out, if I remember correctly, because it was only like a few episodes into the season. Because she lives with these 3 guys, and then she invites from Tusk, Justin Long.
Justin Long, yeah.
She likes Justin Long. She invites him over to Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay.
So it's very clearly spelled out like, we don't even know this girl. She just moved in, and now she's inviting someone. So they kind of explain like the relationships of everybody really quickly. Yeah. And you get to understand everyone's quirks. Justin Long is a great guest star.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder of how early on, how much all the characters, like Winston, Schmidt, it didn't take them long to find the character. Season 1 of New Girl is just as great as like season 3 or 4 or 5. But no, it hits, there's a lot of shenanigans ensue. Like they don't thaw the turkey, so they throw it in the fucking dryer. And then to try to get it to thaw faster, you know. Schmidt is all neurotic about cooking the thing, but that at the core of it, there's a lovely little story about two people who haven't really said like, I like you, let's date, and they, you know, and the Thanksgiving kind of, and then it also leads into a Black Friday scenario, and it's good.
Okay,
it's nice. It's funny and it's sweet. There's a bunch of them, but but the New Girl Up season 1, the first one, it's good.
Okay, nice. I've never seen the show, so.
Jake Johnson. If you like Jake Johnson, and if you don't know why to like him yet, then you need to go watch New Girl, because it is just a showcase for him being brilliant.
Okay, cool.
But it because not to disparage what I'm about to say, but like Friends had a bunch of fucking Thanksgiving episodes.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, to me, like, that's a very basic, like, oh, I watched Thanksgiving Friends episodes. Great. Okay. Go watch New Girl. Like, that's a little bit more interesting to me.
Okay, cool. How many more honorable mentions do you have?
I don't. I'm just gonna kind of keep going, and then I might just end it with like, I'll just go through my top 5. So
okay, cool.
You go, I go, you go, I go, and then.
Okay, cool. Then I'll just get. I'll go back to my list. Okay, cool. I have one Will and Grace Thanksgiving episode. They had quite a few too.
Oh.
They had quite a few, and this might not be the one that everybody would suspect, but I love the one from season 4, I believe, called Movable Feast. It's basically when all 4 of our core Will and Grace group have decided that they don't want to have any ties to anybody, and they just want to have like their own quiet little 4 of us thing with like Rosario making the turkey and everything in Will's apartment. But then they all have to like make appearances and other things. Karen has to go visit her husband in jail. Jack has to go visit his biological father and introduce him to his son. And Will has to go just have an awkward Thanksgiving with his mother. And Grace has to do the same with her mother. And they all, it's a wonderful little hour-long with commercials, you know, episode special where they all kind of like go to their respective obligations, make a horrible mess of things, and leave because they're on an egg timer. Whenever the egg timer goes off, that's when they have to bolt out. And they always do the most damage right before the egg timer goes off. And then they try to sit there in Will's apartment and like have their feast and like enjoy themselves. And they're like, you know what? I feel terrible about the way I left things with this person. Well, I feel terrible about you. You get the idea. So they decide to take the egg timer with them again and time out their apologies to each one of the people that they went to. Or not even their apologies. Sometimes it's just about like telling the truth because they lied and now they have to tell the truth. So they all have something to be thankful for by the end of the episode. But the funny thing is, the whole time they're doing all this, Rosario is snacking on all of the food, and the turkey is completely devoured by the end of the episode when they're driving home, going, "Well, that was great. We deserve our feast that's waiting for us back at home." And there's Rosario asleep on the couch with like a bare turkey leg, just going. Roll credits and NBC. And I just love that one. It's so much fun. So I just wanted to bring that one to the table. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, I muted because I sneezed.
All right.
I haven't seen that show in so long, but I just now realized how much I miss Rosario.
Yes. Shelley Morrison. Love her. Miss her. She did great work. Love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honorable mention goes to Master of None.
Oh, okay. Never seen it.
Oh my God. Eddie. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but Lena Waithe?
Sure.
She, some people may know her from like Ready Player One. I mean, I know her primarily from Master of None. So obviously it's Aziz Ansari's shows on Netflix. Season 1, great. Season 2, great. But they do a Thanksgiving episode, and Lena Waithe is like one of his friends, and she is lesbian. And one of the great things about Master of None, especially just from like the way it's shot, even just like the way the sound's mixed, is there's so much truth. It really captures the truth of what the actors are putting out there. It feels very intimate, feels very honest. The show kind of stops being about Aziz Ansari and does an episode that chronicles like Lena Waithe. There's like, they flash back to him and her as kids, and her kind of like coming out like, I like girls, and like him understand. The whole episode chronicles her various points of coming out, or relating with her family towards her sexuality over Thanksgivings. Okay. It's a show that you could easily dive into because it really kind of breaks the mold a bit. You don't have to know too much about her character to just sort of dive in with this one episode, but it as someone who's never experienced that, you could still watch something and feel the truth coming out of it.
Nice.
And I know that she wrote a lot of life experiences into that episode, which is why it feels like it's coming from a place of truth, because some of it really did happen to her. Angela Bassett plays her mom.
Holy shit.
And there's this whole sequence the first time she comes out to her mom. It's great.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like, get the tissues ready.
When I get Netflix again, my God, I have so much to watch. But
it is lovely.
That's nice. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, I know that episode. Like, she won an Emmy for writing that episode.
Oh, how nice.
And then, Aziz Ansari had his, not really a Me Too thing, but he had the like record scratch.
His whole scenario, his situation.
That situation. So season 3, I think because maybe, or at least in part, because this episode was so well received, season 3 does an about face and becomes about her.
Oh.
Which I have yet to see. But when I'm ready to set the time aside, I'm really looking forward to season 3 of the show.
Okay.
But it's Thanksgiving. It is very moving. It's very honest about the way kids can process things, the way parents have to. Oh, it's so good.
Wow.
If you want the feelings, go watch Master and None season 2 Thanksgiving episode.
Well, you know me and my feelings.
I
got them. I have them. Yes, I have them.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is probably the most basic one because you already called it basic. But of course, there are the Friends like Thanksgiving episodes and everything like that. But the thing is, I didn't want to just say all of them because actually there are some that I enjoy more than others. There is one that I enjoy more than I think pretty much all of them, though, and it's the one with the football, where Ross where we find out Ross and Monica aren't allowed to play football because it got too intense when they were kids and they were fighting over the Geller Cup, and then the Friends pick teams, and then it gets real personal and ends up being about the girls versus the boys. And that's one of my favorite sequences like in the history of television, is just what happens right after the girls huddle, where they're talking about, we're gonna kill him, and Rich is like, yeah, kill him. And then Phoebe's just like, I want to kill them too, but they're boys. How are we going to beat 3 boys? And then you just see like this montage of them, like Chandler's running with the ball, and there's Phoebe with her back to the camera and her shirt's up, and she's flashing him. So he stops running just to like look at her boobs and just kind of go, She steals the ball from him and she runs out. He doesn't even care. He's just standing there going, and then one where Joey has got the ball, and he starts to run, and Rachel jumps on his back, and that doesn't stop him. So both Monica and Phoebe grab Rachel's ankles and he just starts dragging all 3 of them, holding the ball, going, just like a mime running against the wind. And then, of course, Chandler gets the ball again, and Phoebe pulls up her shirt to try and flash him again. And he is like masking his eyes. And he runs right past her. So she starts running after him, like with her shirt up, like, wait, look at my and he falls into a bush, which is what is it? What do you call it? The goal, the yard line. I don't know football terms, but he makes the touchdown, basically. And so they're down one. I don't. Oh my god, it's just so enjoyable. That's one of my favorite things to watch.
What is it called? The end zone?
Yeah. Leave it in the comments, folks.
Yeah, let us know. What's the end of the thing where you win?
Where you put it in the goal and you make the goal and you touch it down and you make the touchdown. Is that the end zone?
It's the end
where
zone.
She chased him? The end zone, sure, why not?
Thank you for bringing that up. Because I only watched Friends once.
Oh, okay.
All the way through. And I waited until I was like 38 to do it. So it was a nice stroll. I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. Oh, that was funny. She did show her boobs. Oh yeah.
It's fun. It's a funny episode. Yeah.
And you know, I may have called it basic, but you called my fucking Charlie Brown Christmas or Charlie Brown Thanksgiving basic.
Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
It's okay to like basic things.
It is.
They're good. They're basic for a reason. They've proven that they're good.
They've stood the test of time. Everybody knows them. And also basic for Thanksgiving is different, I think, than basic for like Halloween or for Christmas too, because Thanksgiving, it's like, well, what else? I mean, how many niche things can you bring up? We've already brought up quite a few, I think.
Yeah.
And I could bring up more, but I don't watch them every year. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a handful of things that I'm not going to say that, I mean, these don't even count as honorable mentions, but there's plenty of stuff out there.
Yeah.
That I was just sitting here thinking about, like I've still never seen Pieces of April, but I know it's a Thanksgiving movie.
Right.
It's out there. I haven't seen Dutch in like,
oh my God,
25 years.
Ed O'Neill.
And Ethan, I can't remember if he goes by Ethan Embry or Ethan Randall now, but like,
I don't know.
But that was like, I think maybe the first movie I ever saw him in.
Okay.
It's basically John Hughes remaking Planes, Trains.
And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, isn't that
right? Yeah. But I mean, he kind of redid the same thing. I haven't thought about this movie in like 30 years, but Son-in-Law.
Oh my God.
Pauly Shore.
Oh my God, you're right.
But Carla Gugino is bringing him home.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have anywhere to be on Thanksgiving, and it is a Thanksgiving movie. There's stuff out there worth checking out, worth revisiting.
Yeah, and then there's stuff.
But I don't.
Yeah.
Only because it's been so long. But I'm sure there's someone out there that's like, hey, Son-in-Law is my fucking Thanksgiving movie. You know, sure. This is just my Thanksgiving shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like I guess it's sort of an honorable mention, but like because Animaniacs, they do this thing where like I want them to like make it a Halloween special or make it a Thanksgiving special, but they'll do an episode that's about like Dracula. And it aired the week of Thanksgiving. But when you watch it, you're like, this isn't a Halloween episode. Mm-hmm. But they did do an episode where, like, you know, there's the first half, it's a cartoon, and the second half is another story. But they did do a whole Thanksgiving episode where, like, there's a pilgrim, and they're dressed like Native Americans, and he's going to kill the turkey, and they try to stop the silly pilgrim from killing the turkey. Dear. It's, you know, it's you know, Yakko doing his you know, I fucking love Animaniacs. So like that's a good one if you want to see them doing their thing. I haven't watched it in many, many years, but
I wonder how it's aged.
I wonder too. Just, you know, in the because it's always, you know, it's us being inserted into whatever era and region that we're gonna have fun with, but sure. I wonder if I go when it's it was Native Americans.
Sometimes repeat viewings, you're just like, oh, never saw that before.
But what's great about Animaniacs is the other end of it, where I'm older now. I'm like, oh, I understood what you just said.
Oh, I think I got all of those. I think I was already maybe 14. I think when it started. What year did it start?
92 or 93.
Oh, really? Then I was 12 and 13. Jesus. Okay, I was just very sophisticated.
Maybe 93.
Maybe sophisticated palate and mind. You know,
like when I was a kid, I never understood the fingerprints joke. Where we're gonna need you to, you know, the fingerprints, and then like Prince is like, and she's like, there's a lot of.
I would have gotten that. There were all those like, "Good night, folks." Whenever somebody says something,
And there was a lot of beats where it's like, "Good night, everybody." Like,
yeah. I always got why he was saying "Good night, everybody." I do know that.
So yeah, that's trying to think. And I guess by technicality,
yeah.
I have done this. Go to Grindhouse. Don't watch any of the movies. Just watch Thanksgiving. Because it's a nice way to spend 2 or 3 minutes.
Probably on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know if it's the full, like, the cheerleader with her boobs out that
probably
does the
not.
splits on the trampoline, but holy shit. When I saw Grindhouse opening night in a theater, and she's jumping, and she does the splits, and a knife comes through the bottom. Like, blood-curdling screams from the entire audience. Great.
It will put you in the mind of Thanksgiving.
Right. It's such a good cut because you don't even see anything, but you know exactly what happened. But
okay. I'm down to 3. So should I start digging into them, or I have one more that I can just kind of like make mention of as far as like a point?
Yeah, I thought you were almost done. Yeah, go for it.
I'm almost through. I've got 3, but I've got something else I can mention. Just because we're talking about, like, episodes of television shows. Obviously, there are a lot of Thanksgiving episodes of shows, and some like that I appreciate a great deal, like from Community. I'm making my way through Brooklyn Nine-Nine right now, and I'm enjoying like all of their holiday stuff. Yeah, it's fun.
Dude, wait, let me
I'm
ask.
only in season 2 though. I'm only in season 2.
Okay. No, that's all. So
yeah,
you've watched season. So you've seen Halloween Heist.
Yes.
Season 1. Okay, great.
Yeah. But I mean, and I'm having fun with it. So I know that there's a lot to be discovered. I'm sure there are things that I've even forgotten that I've seen, like from shows that I love and that I've only maybe watched once and stuff like that. But the thing is, that's why they don't make the list, because I only saw them once. I might have enjoyed them, but whatever. And even like I started like going through like, are there any shows that I'm missing? Like, what are the shows that like I carry in my DNA that like, and I thought like I swear there was a Buffy Thanksgiving episode, and I thought I remembered kind of what it was, and it wasn't one of my favorites, and I looked it up and I was like, there is an episode, and it isn't one of my favorites, because they go a whole Xander gets syphilis, and there's a whole kind of like Native American supernatural thing that's going on. And I read on Wikipedia that it's one of the ones that Joss Whedon is at the time was the most proud of from the entire series, because it was making a point about like, the massacre of like, an indigenous culture, and that, or several indigenous cultures. And I from that angle, it's like, okay, I get why you might feel a little self-righteous about that, a little, but it's not really, it hasn't aged well. I remember the last time I saw it, maybe like this past decade, I remember watching it going like, it doesn't function well for me within like the overall kind of thesis of the project Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It doesn't work for me as just like a woohoo, ha ha ha. It doesn't work for me as like a Thanksgiving, like, it just doesn't hit any of the, it just didn't hit any of the bells for me. I just remember Xander getting syphilis, and and it's kind of unpleasant. And I guess that's the point, but yeah.
That was me about a year ago. Not specifically that, but the choice to be like, I fucking love these shows. Was there a Thanksgiving episode?
Yeah.
It was last year. I was like, that's right. Sports Night did one, kind of. Except when I watched it, I'm like, well, it's only one of 3 stories at Thanksgiving, but goddamn, if I don't feel good at the end of my 22 minutes.
Right.
It was the opposite of your Buffy experience. I'm like, fuck yeah, Sports Night.
Good for you. Yeah. Maybe I have another one waiting for me on the horizon.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Maybe in 10 years when you forget, you'll be like, oh, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Didn't they do a Thanksgiving episode or something? Which I think they did.
They've already done one. It hasn't made the list because I just saw it. So I'm not.
And I forgot it. So, it's on me.
The one that I saw is the one where they all go to fucking Santiago's house, and she wants to give the perfect Thanksgiving. And that it's the first time you see like the inside of her apartment, and the fact that she has like, it looks like an old lady lives there, because she's got all these little ceramic like candy dishes and collectibles and stuff. And everybody, it doesn't work out, of course, because everybody has to leave and nobody's having a good time. And of course she's overachiever, so everyone must have a good time. And I had a great time watching it, but it hasn't stood the test of time yet.
Right.
I can't in good confidence put it on the list.
It stood the test of like a month, but I need more than that.
Like literally like a week and a half. Like, so I'll I'm gonna keep making my way through though.
Like I think like in like season 1 or 2 or 3, there was a Simpsons episode that was Thanksgiving related.
Oh, yeah.
I only know that because I think I Googled like Simpsons Thanksgiving and there was one, but I don't remember it.
No, it's not one of my.
I'm a bad Simpsons fan, but I don't think it's to the test of time.
Oh, there's stronger episodes, even that aren't affiliated with holidays.
Right.
So there you go. You got anything else on your burner?
Well, I'm just gonna, since you have like 2 left, I'm gonna start into my 5. At number 5, I got It's Always Sunny.
Oh,
the gang, I don't know if I'm saying the title right, but the gang squashes their beefs.
Yes.
And they invite multiple people that they have wronged over the course of the show.
Yes.
To Thanksgiving dinner in their apartment.
Yeah.
Including the McPoyles and Gail the Snail, who's like trying to jerk off fucking Frank at the table. And and it's I don't want to say it's sweet, but considering how selfish, how terrible of people they are.
Yes.
It's appropriate that on a Thanksgiving episode, they try to squash beefs.
Uh-huh.
It's coming from a selfish place of how all these beefs are kind of ruining their lives.
Yes.
So it's still coming from, but still, it's the sweetest the show can maybe kind of sort of be in regards to them. And it's just got such a horrible fucking ending where like there's a fire that gets started in the apartment and they literally put up boards and nailed and lock everyone in. But it's a very long, very dysfunctional Thanksgiving dinner. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, I think Rickety Cricket gets shot or injured or something, maimed yet again.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think there's a food fight. Like, yeah. Anytime Gail the Snail's around, I'm happy. It's a very satisfying.
I do have to say, like, I adore that show. I don't watch that particular episode every Thanksgiving, so it didn't make my list, but I did think about it. And, but I do, one thing that I adore about that episode in particular is my favorite Sunny in Philadelphia scenarios, because I always like to say, like, it is the most consumable, palatable show about despicable people who have almost no redeeming qualities. And
it's like Seinfeld, but like turned up to 11.
Because there are some decisions they make that would not make it into like primetime NBC, like kind of thing. But what I love about them is not as much as I love watching them just be despicable and kind of give into their basest like instincts or impulses. The thing that I like the most is when they try to kind of elevate themselves and either act refined or do the right thing. Anytime they want like some kind of like moral high ground they can take in a situation, and here's the way to go about it. Oh, I live for that shit. That's what separates it from just like kind of like a massacre of a show of just like watching despicable people. It's like, no, but they want to try to do good. They're just wholly incapable of it. Life itself is preventing them from kind of like ever realizing their full potential as like productive members of the workforce or of the world.
Their potential to be just decent.
Even just to be decent. Absolutely. So that's cool. I have 3 left, so I'll just start. I'll just start at this one. Because this is also this could conceivably be like a controversial choice for people, and I totally respect that. He leans in, but no, just in terms of like the name, but I'll explain. But let me just lay the groundwork throughout from its inception up until fairly recently. I was a huge fan of most of the seasons of Roseanne, the television show. And for probably like the last 15 years or so, I've had in my possession, because first I was just babysitting them for my sister. She had seasons 1 through 6 on DVD. And I still have them because those holiday episodes are amazing. And also so much of that show was so revolutionary. So I love the character that they built around Roseanne Connor in, say, the first 6 seasons of the show. And And the family dynamic, it was revolutionary in the sense that like finally houses were looking like they were actually lived in. The mother wasn't always running around, even whether she had a job or whether she was a housewife, whatever, she wasn't always running around in heels. She wasn't always like a size 6 or smaller. The children mouthed off and got grounded for like real things and didn't learn their lesson by the end of the episode. So many episodes don't end with like a kind of like and everything's fine. As much as I love the Brady Bunch, I'm not reassured by just kind of like, and that's the lesson of this episode, kids. And now we've learned it and we've moved past it. And we'll never discuss it again. There was a through line, like you literally could not just jump in the middle and kind of be caught up. You had to kind of like know their history and know the bevy of jobs that she had taken on just to kind of keep her family's heads above water. And same with her husband, Dan, played by John Goodman. So the reason I picked these 3 episodes, so the first 3 Thanksgiving episodes that they did for season 2, season 4, and season 6. And the reason I love them is because I feel like they're kind of worst case scenario, but wholly imaginable. Like they're not sensational or even like kind of like highly imaginative. They actually feel incredibly like just domestic and daily practice and accessible. And the Thanksgiving is always the thing that predominates, like even just like as Thanksgiving is rearing its head with these episodes, is the pressure of having to give Thanksgiving to a family unit that is dysfunctional, meaning like kind of the extended parts when they have to like come in and bring their histories and everything like that. And I love the fact that they never really nail it. They never really have like kind of like a happy Thanksgiving. They kind of salvage what they can from every Thanksgiving, at least from these 3 episodes. And there's something, while I've never had particularly that Thanksgiving myself, I know people have, and I know people do. And there's something about that just makes me feel more included in the holiday, because I definitely have felt the pressure to put on the show, to either give Thanksgiving to someone else or to show up and provide my own contribution that's necessary as via my host or hostess to make Thanksgiving happen, because Thanksgiving can't happen if everybody doesn't bring like 2 sides and a dessert, like that kind of thing. Which I don't believe in. I don't adhere to that, so, but I know that if somebody else does, it's immediately like you have to kind of like adhere to their dogma, and that can create more than just like an urge to give thanks. And so I'm really, and on top of that, they're fucking funny. So I just wanted to bring those up because I do watch them still. I don't stream them because I don't want to give her I don't want to give Roseanne any money. I don't want to support it. But the parts of it that I already own that I really like, I don't mind holding on to those, because it's about something else, and because it's about an army of writers who were working alongside her to create these characters. It's about all the actors and everyone, all the hands that went into the making of it. And that's what I see. I can still experience that. I can't watch what happened since, again, the situation, the incident, the thing that is like kind of like made my decision potentially controversial. Sure. And I won't watch anymore.
But your approach to it, I understand. Like, line in the sand, going forward, no thank you. But enough people put in the work and I have the memories, and those are still your memories. Right. But even without that, just the way you described the show and everything, it was a very thoughtful answer, Eddie. I haven't really thought about Roseanne in such a long time. In my DNA, I'm telling you. Oh. So there you go. How about you? I haven't watched it yet this year. I don't watch all these every year, but I rotate quite a bit. But South Park, season 1.
Really?
Starvin' Marvin.
Oh my God.
Out the gate, that first season, they have a classic that has stood the test of time. Okay. First of all, it's A story, B story, and C story are all Thanksgiving related, you know. Classic stuff. I will forever love once they've received Starving Marvin instead of the watch to sponsor a starving Ethiopian. They get a starving Ethiopian.
Yes, yes.
But when they go to like the community hall, like they're having the big dinner, and he's like, "Hey, Mom, and this is appetizers." Appetizers? Yeah, appetizers. This is what you eat before you eat.
Yeah.
And explaining that to this like waifish little starving Ethiopian, this American gluttonous concept of, oh, this is what you eat before you eat.
Yes.
And then like the food arrives and he immediately just throws it in the trash. And then like the B story of like everyone donate your canned foods for the food drive, you know, for Kenny's family, because Kenny's family was so poor.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then Kenny has to get in the little machine where all the cannons start spinning around, and his family's like, be sure to get us like, it's just between like the Kenny's family being poor and actual starving Marvin, and then the mutant turkeys.
I remember that.
With Dr. Mephisto, and it felt like such a clever gag at the time, but when Chef rides out painted like William Wallace, like it cut to widescreen.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, that episode has Dr. Mephisto, it has mutant turkeys, it's Starving Marvin's classic, man. Absolute classic.
Nice.
I don't have a long, lengthy story about why Roseanne was so great for South Park. It's just
no, sometimes it's just
Starving fucking Marvin, you know.
I remember being happy that he finally got to like actually eat something. Didn't he actually get to enjoy something like a turkey leg or something? And he seemed really happy about it.
Yeah, I remember the meat of the episode. I literally don't remember the last minute or so. I could have sworn, doesn't he get the turkeys and take them back with him to Ethiopia?
I think so. Yeah.
And they like have
everybody
turkeys.
Gets to eat. Yeah, everybody gets to eat turkey there. The crazy turkeys. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Okay, I'm gonna go.
And I just gotta say, to be fair, South Park, that's my favorite. I guess technically there would also be an honorable mention way later, like season 14, season 15, season 13. They came back to the Thanksgiving well with a pretty. The episode isn't classic. No. I don't really revisit it. I have watched it maybe once or twice since. But I feel like in the writer's room, when you're putting this on a board, like it's really good ideas. But the idea that like the boys have to write a report on Thanksgiving, so they watch on the History Channel. There's an episode about Thanksgiving stuff, but it's all like the fact that like History Channel has devolved into alien conspiracy stuff and reality TV. Right. So even though it's about Thanksgiving, it's about, were aliens really there at the first Thanksgiving?
Oh my God.
And they're like, huh, so they're writing their report about how aliens at the first Thanksgiving, but then the gag is aliens were at the first Thanksgiving. And you see like the planet of the Native Americans and the planet of the Pilgrims, and
oh my God.
And it's all Thor, like the Pilgrim planet is Asgard, and
oh my God!
They need Natalie Portman to open the portal. You know, like it's
not Jane.
Fun.
Natalie Portman.
No, Natalie Portman.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's worth it's worth checking out. But it does not live on in my heart the way Marvin. Is his name Marvin?
Right. Yeah. And then they decide they arbitrarily, isn't Cartman the one who names him Stabbing Marvin?
Yeah, Stabbing Marvin.
Yeah. But okay, this is the only other movie that I have on my list because there's such a shortage of. I looked them up and I saw Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and I was just like, oh, that's so sad. Like, I remember seeing it when I was very, very young and just being kind of like at the very end, spoiler. Let's just put it this way: at the very end, you find out a secret about John Candy's character. Fucking sad. Yeah. Fuck me. Jesus. No. Never watched it again. I just watched it last year. No, so fucking sad. I can't with me. Oh
yeah. Eddie feels feelings.
I don't want to see John Candy sad in anything. He deserves to be happy. I mean, you know, R.I.P.
Uh,
And I say that sincerely.
I mean, it takes a little a turn, if you will, but I don't feel the way you do. I yet
it wrecked me.
Wow, yeah. No, I still
It was
that doesn't stop me from liking, you know, everything else. And
I wasn't really enjoying all of the stuff that led, like that they were doing prior to that. I was really kind of sad.
Dude,
sorry, I was sorry for Steve Martin because I'm like, oh, I'm a Virgo, you know. I'm just like, oh no, everything needs to be in its place, and that's my hell, you know. But then John Candy just makes his disclosure, and then I'm like, no, that's another one of my hells, you know, like. And I won't go into it, but if you've seen, you know.
I get it. I just don't have that, and it resonates for me. And other, like every time, and this has happened to me fucking before, several times actually. But like if I go to a con and we're sharing a hotel room with like 4 other people or something,
sure,
and then I'm the last one to shower, and I always think of Steve Martin when I fucking have to use my like the hand towel like under the sink to like fucking.
Oh.
There's a lot in that movie I enjoy.
Terrible.
And and just broad comedic beats with them going the wrong way on the freeway.
Maybe I need to rewatch it. I haven't seen it like since I was in single digits, I think. What year was it released? What year was it released?
I'm gonna guess 87.
So yeah, I must have been like 8. I must have been 8 or 9 because we rented it. Or maybe it was on cable, but
it was the second movie at the drive-in that we went to go see when I was a kid. I don't remember what the first movie was.
Yeah,
but I do remember Planes, Trains was starting, and Steve Martin was trying to get a cab, and I just went to the back seat and fell asleep.
Oh,
I'm like, this isn't a cartoon. Batman's not in this. I don't care.
I think I'd sooner watch Only the Lonely than like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Yeah, good movie, and
I haven't seen it in like 30 years. But yeah,
but it'll give you feels too. Like it's.
Wait, so Planes, Trains, you're saying isn't being brought up as one of your titles? Is that?
No, it is not. I just wanted to make mention because I don't have many movies on my thing. But I was looking at movies. I saw that and I was like, these are my options. But this one I like.
Allow me to say my number 3 was Planes, Trains.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We don't have to like the same shit, man.
No, I know. You saw my guttural. You know why now. At least now you know why.
I do. But I think this is a basic one that it's enjoyable to watch. I know people who watch it every year, but I watch it recurringly.
Okay.
Every few years, I'm like, it's time to watch this at Thanksgiving time now.
Okay. Maybe one of these years I'll watch it with you and we'll see if
and then we just won't watch the end. We'll just.
No, we have to.
Yeah.
Because I know, because then I feel, oh God,
now you're doing a disservice to John Candy.
Yeah, because this is the thing. I can't, if I know that a movie's going to end with like a sad point and everything like that, and I only watch until the point and then I don't watch the sad thing, then I feel like I'm leaving them alone. Is that weird?
No, I understand.
I'd rather be there. Than like walk up to the line and then abandon them, because then I just feel like the kind of person who just abandons people. I mean, I'm all for keeping distance and not going all in with someone, but once I've stepped in, I'm in. I have to be in. I have to see it through to the end. No, especially a movie that I have this many issues with. I have to see what does it do to me now. I have to know.
But I'm just gonna say, we've already kind of talked about it, but just the facts, everybody.
Yeah.
Steve Martin and John Candy.
Yeah.
And it's a hell of a fun time, and John Hughes is behind the wheel, and how many, it's a blessing that we get to tie that into Thanksgiving, because it could just be any holiday they're trying to get home to. But now I have an excuse to watch it at Thanksgiving. It's a good time.
The film that I will address, and that is on my list, that I think I watch it every year, even though it is DNA, but Home for the Holidays.
Oh, with Holly Hunter.
I mean, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And but I love the script by W.D. Richter, and it's Jodie Foster directed it. At one point, because I had it on VHS for the longest time, and that's how I watched it. And then I finally got my hands on the DVD, which I still have. I should get it on Blu-ray. But I have the DVD, which has a commentary with Jodie Foster talking about the movie. And what's so interesting, this is a total sidebar, but total interesting watching that director's commentary is that she perceives Anne Bancroft's character as Holly Hunter's mother so differently than I do. And her turmoil and what she's wrestling with and everything like that, her predicament, she perceives it one way and I perceive it almost exactly the opposite way. So it's interesting because
I love when that shit happens.
Yeah.
Or you're talking about a character. Sometimes I'll listen to a commentary where like I think the director is kind of being like maybe knowing and ironic, and it turns out like no, they're just misguided and they're playing the truth of it, and you're like, oh,
or you think like, did the director read the script, see the character a particular way, and just kind of stick to that because they got other things going on too. Jodie Foster's a decent director, but you know you can only put your focus in so many different places when you're directing film, and maybe missed something that Anne Bancroft kind of laced into the character that I picked up on for my own reasons. And
I mean, Eddie, I'm going to be honest with you. I remember when this movie came out, I rented it when it came out. Not only have I not seen it since, I don't even remember what the fuck it's about besides it takes place at Thanksgiving.
Okay, cool. Well, then I won't spoil anything, but I will say, totally worth your time. I think you should check it out this year. But one thing that I really, really love about it is, again, just so this is what I love about my Thanksgiving consumables, is the fact that like if they don't just kind of celebrate the togetherness and the harmony of the whole thing, like, I don't want to see people just smiling. And I feel like in recent years, it's really become kind of not even en vogue or on trend, but just like the expected thing is to go for kind of like the underside of Thanksgiving and the stress and the dysfunction of the family and everything like that. But movies and television that did it a little bit earlier when people were still making happy movies about Thanksgiving or happy holiday specials about Thanksgiving where it's a time for togetherness and, you know, we'll all learn a valuable lesson or something. I like movies and TV that kind of got in on the ground floor and made not the antithesis, but like included me in the conversation. Like, it's not just about the family being together. It's about the sparks that fly. It's about the people who don't get along. It's about watching the drama unfold. How seriously do you take something? Who's taking it seriously? Who's laughing at it? And the memories that you've built up until this point. I'm all about, you know me, I mean, someone who's so character oriented as I am, I love the history, like just kind of being brought to this to the forefront, and just kind of like spotlights are on it. Now we're just going to watch the drama unfold. Plus, I mean, I'm only human, but Robert Downey Jr., he had this.
He is in this.
Yeah.
That's the only, I didn't say it, but I'm like, I think Robert Downey Jr. was in it, but I thought it was wrong.
He played Holly Hunter's brother, and Cynthia, I can't remember her name. I think it's Phillips, plays their other sister. I'm going to kill myself because I don't think that's her name. She was in everything in the 80s and the 90s, though. She's a really, really good actress. Anyway, but like the comrades are Holly Hunter and Robert Downey Jr., and Robert Downey Jr. played gay all the time in the 90s. This is one of those roles. Yeah, a lot, and did it well. I never took fault with anything that he did.
Not just the 90s. Wonder Boys was 2000.
Yeah. Up until that point. Now, by then, I'd been like, oh, he's doing it again. Great. He does a good job. Like, I didn't have a problem with it. I still don't. But so watching him play that role, like he brings the Robert Downey Jr., which is all the magic that entails, and Holly Hunter plays off it brilliantly. So that's beautiful. But then on top of that, her, shall we say, potential love interest, or you know, her de facto beau, like that her mother would really love to see, you know, set up with, is Dylan McDermott, and he gets to be romantic.
Oh,
and
Eddie, you just shifted gears there.
It still works. I still watch 2 scenes in particular, and I just think, Claudia, that's Holly Hunter's character. I'm like, Claudia, come on.
That's when you reach over from the couch and you get a pillow and you're like,
no, it's not like that, but it's more like an effervescent kind of like glow, you know, just kind of like oh, sir. Oh, sir, I'm blushing. You're turning my head. It's that kind of thing. It's being, romance. And so yeah, for all of those reasons and more, and also Anne Bancroft and Charles Durning play her parents. Dear God. Geraldine Chaplin plays her aunt, her nutty aunt in it. Oh, she's so sensational.
Cynthia Stevenson.
Thank you. I feel better. I love you, Cynthia Stevenson.
She's great.
Watching, or if anybody who knows her is watching, I love her. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. My memory's shit if you've seen any of the other episodes. So,
dude,
but good movie. Good fucking movie. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Not only do I want to revisit it, and I almost want to watch it with you sometime. I want to see the Dylan McDermott swoons.
Oh, all right. I mean, that's kind of what it's like, what you just heard. But what do you have, sir?
Because I think that just tapped you out, right?
I have one more.
Oh.
I think I miscounted. I don't do the maths very well.
Yeah, you really didn't. Holy shit. I have two, and then you have one. So, okay, I mean, I'm not going to get into it because we've already talked about it. But my number two is Charlie Brown, Thanksgiving Charlie Brown.
Oh, it's your number two.
It's number two. But I will take this minute before we get to your last one and my last one to, we touched on this a few episodes ago. No, last episode when we talked about Blood Rage, that if you are into horror and you don't want to watch like fucking Thanksgiving, I find Christie to be a decent, worthwhile time.
Okay, I have to watch it.
It stars Ashley Greene. It's a woman isolated in her campus on Thanksgiving weekend, and everyone went away except for her. And people are trying to kill her. And Into the Dark, which is the Blumhouse Hulu shows where they do different holidays. I haven't seen the first season's Thanksgiving one. We talked about this a little bit last time, but they did one called Pilgrim. I'm just recommending them to horror people. Right. Pilgrim's kind of a mixed bag, but it has a really, really great cast. And there are moments where it almost hits the right camp note, especially towards the end. Because the premise, I'm just going to try to tell you on this premise at least. It's a family. Not even the full premise of like the relationships of the characters, but the mom has invited this like Thanksgiving cosplay performance group where they're like in character and they will perform and they'll give you a Thanksgiving dinner / performance and they're dressed as pilgrims and all that.
Okay.
But they also like, since they're booked from wherever, they like stay in the house a few days early. And Eddie, these Thanksgiving performers, they're not who they say there are, and he's always in character. Great character.
No, that's not a good character to not praise.
It isn't. So I don't know. God. For any horror fans out there, modest recommendations that they're out there.
Yeah, they're out there.
What's your number one? Not number one.
It's not my number one, but I mean, I don't have a problem with it being at the top of this list or whatever, because it is also in my DNA. It's a little episode called Thanksgiving Orphans of a little known hit TV show from the 80s called Cheers.
Never heard of
it. And it was in season 5. It was written by Bill and Sherry Steinkellner. I don't know if they were brother or sister, or usually they're married, so maybe they were married. But they wrote this one together. And basically, like, the gang at Cheers all have their own like Thanksgiving plans. Not all of them, but a few of them. So like maybe 3 of them are going to meet over at like Carla's house and just watch the game and just have the bird, and they're just going to enjoy it. It's going to be no big whoop. And then one by one, like people who like Sam, Ted Danson's character, had like a date with like this hot little tamale, and she can't make it, and so he has to come by. And then somebody else can't make it, so they come by. And then finally, Shelley Long's character, Diane, the goat, you know, and not greatest of all time, goat used to mean like scapegoat, like you don't belong, you're different from us, we shun you. She's that character. And it's funny that I'm bringing it up now because she shows up dressed up in a little pilgrim outfit because she thought she was invited to an authentic like pilgrim feast or something like that with her professors because she is in college forever. And instead, when she gets there, she realizes that she's was there to serve the professors. She wasn't there to be a guest. Aww. That's why they made her dress up in the pilgrim garb, which she happily did because she wanted, to be authentic to Thanksgiving. Because she's just a chipper, type A personality, kind of like, slash uptight. None of my knowledge is helpful in any way kind of person. And so she shows up in full pilgrim regalia. And they sit around trying to watch the game, and then they sit around like waiting for the turkey to get done. And Norm keeps coming in, George Wendt keeps coming in, so like the little pop thing won't come up. It just won't come up. So they're sitting there waiting with all the food is ready. And then eventually like everything turns to slop, and it either melts or goes cold or whatever. If it has to be hot, it's cold. If it has to be cold, it's hot. And then the little pop thing hasn't popped yet. And then Frasier, Kelsey Grammer's character, loses it. It's like, it is called a thermometer. Will you call it a thermometer? And everybody just shouts, thermometer! And it's a real short fuse because they're hungry and they're waiting and they're really getting on edge about this. And finally, I think Shelley Long's character, Diane, the designated adult, leaves for a moment. And when she comes back, the fighting has started to kind of like amplify. And now they're starting to grab dishes and things, and they're like going to start a food fight. And she runs in and she's like, stop it immediately! In a great Shelley Long delivery. And she's like, this day is about being civilized. It's about our brethren who... And she starts giving this speech, and somebody throws something on her. And she's like, and I think it was Ted Danson, Sam Malone. And she's like, Sam Malone, prepare to eat your liver, or whatever she says. And they all just have this incredible food fight where they're just throwing the entire table's worth of food at each other. And then they all just start laughing, and they sit there, and then whatever's left, they just kind of spoon, and they're drinking, and they're going like, to this, to that. They're saying what they're thankful for, but like not in an organized, hands folded kind of way, just kind of like, hey, how about this? Everything like that. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's a great episode. It makes me really, really happy. So there you go.
I don't have anything from like the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Or early 90s, but you really make me want to go and fucking watch that episode like tonight.
Oh my God. It's like on everything. So whatever you have,
right.
Whatever subscription you have.
I want to say it's like probably like on Peacock or
It's something. On Peacock. I think it's also on like Prime and on Hulu. It's on like everything. So
it's funny because that was a show when it aired, I was a child.
Yeah, me too.
And would never be in like a bar, but like that show was a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, totally.
Like Sam Malone and fucking Woody and Carla, all of that shit. Norm.
Yeah, Norm. Yeah, no, I think I've said it on this pod before.
Cliff Clavin. Yeah, like
Cliff Clavin. Yeah,
all of them. Like
yeah.
And then I've never gone back since.
Oh, I gotta tell you, good writing is good writing. Good acting is good acting, and they are sensational. It's a phenomenal show. I actually haven't seen it in maybe like 3 or 4 years. I watched a few Halloween episodes this past October, but I already had them memorized. So it's like sometimes when you have something memorized, you don't return to it. But I did this time, and I was just like, God, I fucking love this show. But I haven't watched it yet. I'm waiting until a little bit closer to the cusp of Thanksgiving to watch it. But it's definitely it's on Peacock. I have it saved. I'm gonna watch it, and it's just pure joy. I love it. So there you go.
I wonder if there are any other 80s shows that I'm forgetting that like, oh, did you know there was a fucking episode of Family Ties or Alf or something?
There were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing when we're done. I'm going to start Googling shit.
Yeah, right? That's what I did.
My last one, my number one, isn't a basic one, but it is, it won't be, it's close proximity because we just talked about fucking Blood Rage.
Oh, yes.
I saw this movie a year ago, or a little bit over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And instantly, like, it just went, boop, number one Thanksgiving thing to watch. Like, I fell in love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at age 40 or at 39 at the time, I went, and where have you been my whole life?
Yeah.
Come here. And you're going to be my number one Thanksgiving thing I watch.
Yes.
Now, everyone like maybe home for the holidays or Charlie Brown Thanksgiving maybe feel more Thanksgiving-y.
Sure.
The movie starts in the act one, there's Thanksgiving dinner, and the whole rest of the movie is just that evening.
Yeah.
But there's no one dressed as like the killer or Pilgrim, but it's just as far as like a horror movie set on Thanksgiving. It's good enough of an excuse for it to be Thanksgiving-y.
Yeah. The dysfunction, it is replete with dysfunction and awkwardness, which I associate with Thanksgiving, as previously stated. So, yeah.
And then once you've got that excuse, it is a romp of a movie. It will bring you joy. Yeah. It delivers some gore and some brilliant performances.
Yes.
It has maybe the best shot of someone eating leftovers ever.
Like almost in the fridge. Almost in the fridge.
And seeing this grown-ass woman acting like a child with her legs spread apart, eagle with just trays of green beans and corn,
and carrots and corn, and
lit by the fridge light, and just in a trauma-induced stage of coping of just food, food.
Because the alcohol has predated all of that.
I mean, to get into it more, just go watch our last fucking episode where we talked about Blood Rage, but an instant Thanksgiving classic.
I agree with you. The only reason it didn't make my list is because I literally watched it like day before yesterday or something. So,
and you're talking about things standing the test of time, or at least seeing. But I'm like, no, I watched it last year. I'm like, I think I'll watch this every year or almost every year.
I will watch it again. I probably won't even wait until Thanksgiving to watch it again. Full disclosure, but I will watch it next Thanksgiving. It will make the list. Yes, absolutely. I concur.
And all I can say, everybody, is if there's someone out there, be it whoever's watching or in the comments, who goes like, why not Alice's Restaurant? I've never fucking seen Alice's Restaurant, but people of a certain age, that is the Thanksgiving movie.
I've gotta watch it. Yeah, I saw it on one of the lists I was looking at, and I was like, wait a minute, is that? And I need to do more research.
Literally every year on Facebook, because again, I'm in my 40s and I'm not on the TikToks and I'm not on but every fucking year I always see someone being like, oh, we're watching Alice's Restaurant tonight. I'm like, what the fuck? I think it was about 5 years ago. What the fuck is Alice's Restaurant? Like, oh, it's based on this like 18-minute song, and it's like a hippie protest song. Like, I didn't even know there was a song. Well,
I'll ask my mom about it.
Yeah. Okay. It's definitely a movie that I feel like, ask your mom, kids. But I just want to address the sort of elephant in the room, which is there's always someone that will yell, Alice's Restaurant. And I go, ah.
They probably gave up on us like long ago in this pod, in this particular episode. Just like, they're not going to talk. They're talking about the South Park.
They're talking about South Park. Yeah.
Right.
And sure enough, in another 20, 30 years, I'll be watching some video and I'm like, Planes, Trains, you young fuck. Fucking Planes, Trains.
Did they bring up Cheers?
Remember when Starvin' Marvin you couldn't eat the appetizers?
James Burrows was a god of the American sitcom. That's me now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, fun times.
Yeah.
Plenty to be grateful for.
Oh, way to put a little bow on it there. I'm so thankful you said that, Eddie. So that was. Thank you for reminiscing with me about a bunch of. I now have lots of good things to go watch now.
Right? Yeah. Totally.
And hopefully, maybe anyone out there, you have now found something to watch. I mean, you can find Animaniacs on Hulu. You can find so much of this shit. You know, Friends is on HBO Max. It's all. Go find it.
Yeah, it's all just there waiting for you.
Yeah, It's Always Sunny is out there on Hulu. And,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. So go watch things. Go be thankful. And yeah, thanks for joining me, Eddie.
Oh, thank you, Giancarlos, for having me, as always.
Until next time, everybody. Bye.